All right, what is going on, guys? Happy Thursday. Welcome to the madness. It all begins today. Should be a very interesting day, but we do have some NBA games that we will talk about. We've got some injury news, a lot of things I just want to wait and see. So, without further ado, we're going to get into the NBA games. We're going to get into college games, give you my leans, likes, give you my best bets. Don't have a lot for the NBA. I got two right now, but I do have like six college that I like. So, we'll talk through all those. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We did do a live stream yesterday. That was very successful going through our picks. Josh Giddey over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. That was a killer. He had 12 at halftime and then only got two more the rest of the game. So hooked us there. But did Cade Cunningham over his assists, that cashed. We did Vucevic over his points and rebounds, that cashed. We did the Spurs player, that cashed. So really successful day there going through the live stream. So we might do that more. Kind of like that. So we'll see how that goes. But let's get into the slate real quick in the NBA. Nets and the Pacers. We see the Nets getting 8.5. I think that's just probably right on the spot. But we got Halliburton coming back from his back injury, maybe. So that's another one we got to wait and see. But if that's the case, give me the Pacers minus 8.5 at home. Knicks and the Hornets. We see the Knicks minus 7.5. Terrible Knicks team last night. Let's all just be real. They were awful. There is absolutely no reason they should have lost that game last night. So how would they bounce back tonight? I don't know. You got the Hornets, should have ball back, should have Bridges in the lineup, should have Williams. I mean, there's their starting rotation. I think the Knicks bounce back pretty strong. Give me the Knicks minus 7.5. They need this win, and the Hornets, frankly, would love to lose. So I think the Knicks take care of business. We're kind of getting to that point in the season, man, where you got to be really careful what games you play and things like that. I'm on Miles Bridges over his rebounds. He's the guy that tries really hard. So there's certain effort guys to where even when teams are tanking, you know they're going to try. So I don't mind taking those guys, but you do have to be careful. Next game, Raptors and the Warriors. Raptors plus 14.5. This line just seems a little high, but again, we need to wait and see injury reports. Jakob Poeltl's a game time decision. Will quickly play. I think Barnes will play. But it's just kind of a ragtag bunch right now for the Raptors. Another team that would prefer not to win another game this season. Warriors, again, we got to wait and see who's playing for them. So it's kind of a wacky time of the year where early betting really just doesn't do a lot for you. And can ultimately screw you pretty good there. It's too big of a spread. I would lean Raptors plus 14.5, but not touching it. Bulls and the Kings. Kings took down the Cavs last night. That was an interesting game. We see the Bulls plus 6.5. Kings at home. Give me Kings minus 6.5 at home. Just too good of a team, and the Bulls suck. Need to see if Giddey plays tonight. Will he play on a back-to-back after being out? I don't know. So we'll have to wait on that one. Bucks and the Lakers. Definitely game of the night. Giannis and Lillard are game time decisions, kind of like they always are. I expect both of them to play. I think this is a game where we can expect normal starting rotations. What's Luka's minutes going to look like coming off a back-to-back? That I don't know. How Luka scored 20 points in the first quarter and didn't cover 31.5? I don't know. That's pretty mind-blowing to me. But he didn't. So in this spot, I would take the Lakers plus 4.5. I think Bucks have some issues, right? I heard Doc Rivers sat Lillard and Giannis down and kind of talked about the struggles a little bit. They're just not that great. And then you take them on the road, and we're giving the Lakers 4.5. Lakers look great. Austin Reeves has stepped up big time. I think him and Luka are working really well together. So I do like that starting five. So give me the Lakers in this spot. All right, college. Let's get into this madness. There's some interesting games today. Creighton and Louisville. Not a game I want to touch. I think it's going to be pretty tight, to be honest with you. I think ultimately Louisville comes out on top, but man, I mean, my model's got this projected like 77, 73, something along those lines. Maybe take the over, but it's just two teams that rely pretty heavily on the three. So I don't love taking over-unders on teams that just live and die on the three. That's the thing with Creighton. If they're hitting their threes, they're going to win. You just really can't stop them when they're on fire with the three ball. High Point and Purdue. Another game. I wish I would have touched this at 10.5. I saw that line initially. I put it out in the Discord. And I got busy and did something, came back, and it just like started tanking. So it's one of those. I wish I would have got High Point at 10.5. I didn't. So now I'm just not going to touch this. I mean, this could be a potential upset. Ultimately, I think Purdue's going to come out on top. I think there's a little too much hype around High Point right now. So I'm just going to kind of fade it a little bit, but I would lean Purdue at -7.5. I think Purdue's obviously just a better team. Disappointing team. High Point's offense has been pretty good, but we've seen them come out really flat. I kind of think back to that game against Furman where they just came out terrible in the first half, made one hell of a comeback with their bench, actually. You're just not going to be able to do that against a Purdue team, let's be honest. Next game, Montana and Wisconsin. The line's so high. I would lean Wisconsin here, but just another one. Not going to touch it. 16.5 is a lot. I don't want to touch that. I think Wisconsin's going to come out with a little bit of anger after what happened in the Big Ten championship. So SIU and Houston, I mean, 28.5 points is a lot. That said, I don't think this SIU team should even be in this tournament. So Houston probably covers this, but I'm not going to touch it. Over under of 130 is surprising to me, or 126.5, sorry. Maybe lean towards like Houston team total over, SIU team total under, something like that. It's a huge game. Auburn and Alabama State. I'm not touching this. Too big of a spread. Didn't look into it. As soon as I saw 32, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good there. Maybe Auburn team total over, something like that. Clemson and McNeese. This is one I did put out right away. I can't believe this line hasn't moved. I'm big on Clemson here. I like Clemson in this spot. I think they beat them by like 10. So Clemson -7.5 for me. That said, McNeese, they're not a bad team. I just think playing caliber team as Clemson, who has been rolling teams, just not a good matchup. What is a good matchup is VCU and BYU. I don't know, man. This is one I've laid off of. My gut says BYU. Problem with BYU, we all know they just kind of sit back and, I mean, if they're making their threes, they're going to kill them. But VCU on the offensive rebounds, they're just insanely good. And they've been playing amazing as of late. So it's such a toss-up game. Maybe VCU plus the points, but gut says BYU takes this one down. Georgia and Gonzaga. I'm just not in love with this Georgia team. I know they play in the SEC. They play some really hard teams, but offensively, there's not a lot there. If you've watched Georgia games this year, it's not great, right? Sometimes they catch fire with their shooting and stun some teams a little bit. But Gonzaga, I know they haven't had a great year, but they looked pretty good in conference tournament. I mean, they got the job done. So this is a Gonzaga -6.5 for me. Almost made the card, didn't put it on the card. Let's see, Wofford and Tennessee. This is going to be the slowest pace game ever. Really slow pace. I mean, two teams that are very deliberate with the ball. That's why we see an over-under of 133. I think this is going to be like a 60-possession game. So I would almost lean Wofford just because of the limited amount of possessions. It's going to be hard to go up by 20 with few possessions, right? Tennessee's pretty deliberate. Wofford's pretty deliberate. Going to be a boring game to watch, if I'm being honest. Arkansas and Kansas. This one should be interesting. I mean, I lean Arkansas. Arkansas plus 5.5 is where I'm at. That's what's on my bet. It's just Arkansas is one of those teams, man. They're young. They can be a little crazy. They don't have their best player, but they should be getting the second best player back. And Kansas, this has just been an absolute horrendous year for them. I can't trust them. I can't trust them. Maybe at home I could trust them a little bit, but at a neutral site, no. Zero trust in them. Yale and Texas A&M. Yale, another team. Pretty good, right? But you got to think about the league they played in. Texas A&M is definitely the better team. I think most people are going to be on Yale today, plus 7.5. I'm kind of the other way. I think Texas A&M, I think the pace they play is going to wear Yale down. They should be able to stop the three ball. I don't think Yale's going to be able to do much underneath. So to me, this is an A&M spot. Drake and Missouri. Really public play, but I agree. Drake plus 6.5. Now, Drake's another team that, I mean, they take their possessions down way, way down on that clock. Missouri is the other way around. They're more, let's get down, run and gun type of offense. So it should be interesting. Typically, when you see games like that, it does tend to favor the other team that plays a little bit slower and more deliberate. It kind of gets the other team off keel a little bit. So I'm all about Drake here. I think Drake can win. UCLA and Utah State. Utah State's looked really good. I want to take Utah State. I almost put it on the card. This is one my gut's just saying to fade. I think UCLA gets it done, but this definitely could be an upset. But going to fade that one. Omaha and St. John's. St. John's just been playing amazing. Give me St. John's here. This one's pretty easy. I think they absolutely blow them out of the water. This one shouldn't even be close 3 minutes into the game. UC San Diego and Michigan. I'm big on Michigan here. I mean, it pains my heart to say that because I hate Michigan in every way, shape, or form. I just don't see it from UC San Diego. I mean, this isn't a tried and true D1 program that's been playing for a long time. I've watched 2 of their games. I can't say I was impressed. It looked okay, but going up against a team like Michigan with the 2 bigs, it should just be able to absolutely dominate tonight. I just don't see it. The only thing that concerns me here is UC San Diego does average about 15 turnovers a game in terms of what they produce, and Michigan is a very turnover-prone team. So that's the only angle that gives me a little bit of doubt here is just what if UC San Diego is just able to dominate that turnover battle? Then that obviously gives them a significant advantage. But for me, this is a Michigan spot. I'm Michigan all day here. UNC Wilmington, Texas Tech, Raiders. Didn't want to touch this game. It's just not a game I love. UNC Wilmington's looked pretty good for most of the year. We've actually rode them several times with some success this year. I think 14.5 is a lot. But going up against a team like Texas Tech, this should be a pretty big disparity compared to their usual competitors. So I would have a slight lean towards Texas Tech, but it's just too many points, in my opinion, for this type of game. All right, let's get into the betting card, get you guys on your way. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It helps me a lot, and I would definitely appreciate it. All right, so in the NBA, we'll start there. Like I said, just 2 plays right now. I'll look later today. Maybe we'll do another live stream. I'm not sure. But Miles Bridges over 6.5 rebounds. The line's just too low. This is like minus 160 on most books. DK had it at minus 120 still. There's just no possible way this doesn't jump to 7.5 or minus 150. He's over this in 12 of his last 15 games when he plays at least 30 minutes. And forwards have been feasting on rebounds against the Knicks. 9 of the last 15 forwards are over their line. You look at the line for Mark Williams, he's heavily favored to go under today, and that's with Diabate, a game-time decision, and Nurkic's not going to get a ton of minutes. Who's going to get the rebounds, right? Ball's got a bad matchup to get rebounds. Green doesn't get rebounds, so Nick Smith Jr. doesn't get rebounds. It opens up the avenue for Miles. I think he has a nice day with the rebounds. And we've got a 7.5-point spread, so it should be somewhat close. And then other play I have is Nikola Vucevic over 15.5 points. We were on his points and rebounds yesterday. That cashed with ease. He actually got most of that with the points. Only got 6 rebounds. But he's got a good spot here to get some points tonight. Almost thought about taking his over 3s because he's got a beautiful matchup there. But, Sinners have been able to definitely get some points here. So I like him to go over his points prop tonight. The only thing that scares me is we are talking about a back-to-back, so there could be the potential he plays less minutes, but I don't think he will. Let's jump to college basketball here. College basketball, Arkansas plus 5.5 versus Kansas. Like I said, I think Kansas ultimately gets the job done most likely, but I do expect it to be tight. Hopefully Arkansas can kind of, what I expect here is Arkansas comes out, they only go 2 ways. They either come out flat, and then they just absolutely bust it out in the second half, or they just stun them. They hit them with a little hook in the first half, and then they try to hang on in the second half. So it's typically how an Arkansas game goes. It's usually not really back and forth. They're very up and down and streaky. Drake plus 6.5 over Missouri. Already talked about it. The pace of Drake, I think, is just going to wear Missouri down a little bit. And then give me Yale team total over 65.5. I just think this is really low for a Yale team that can go on a run and get hot shooting the ball. So I think 65.5 is borderline disrespectful, if I'm being honest. I do like Yale to go over. I almost thought about taking this up to like 70.5. I do think it's going to be a pretty high scoring game. I actually favor the over in this one as well. St. John's minus 18.5. I hate it. Gives me heartburn taking point spreads this big, but I mean the talent disparity is night and day. Clemson -6.5. I took the juice here, so I didn't do the 7.5. Did 6.5 over McNeese, and then Michigan -2.5 at -108. This is just one. I'll hang my hat on this, and if I lose, tip the cap. But Michigan is ridiculously more talented. I'm not sure why this line hasn't moved, right? That kind of leans you to want to take San Diego, but I'm just not doing that. This is a more experienced Michigan team in the tournament. It's tournament time. So I love them there. All right, those are my plays. Like I said, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord. It is absolutely free. Link is down below. And I'll catch you in the next video.